We always had talent, but we did not have consistency in our attack.
You think in Indian cricket that cushion of allowing somebody to fail is like kind of moving to the extent that patience levels are all going for a toss. You are judged with each session. Forget a test match. Forget a series. I'm going to sit down here on television, watch you and judge you. When did you all identify and come to an understanding that Jasprit Bumrah is someone you all would pursue?
A lot of things have been said about fitness culture of Virat Kohli. Bumrah is no less. Because Bumrah is very fond of eating. One day he came and told me, "Sir, when I give up the game, I will be bigger than you." He said, because I love eating. He was fond of milkshakes, he was fond of burgers, pizzas and all that. So overnight he gave up everything. I knew Bumrah from under 19 days, and that's what when I told Ravi, when Ravi asked about Bumrah, I said he's somebody who loves bowling.
I remember Michael Holding, not just on air, but even off air when, kind of casually talking. He wasn't kind on Bumrah at all. And coming from Michael Holding, you can imagine,
Exactly.
People are going to take it seriously. One of the most pleasing sights watching Indian cricket is like seeing Virat Kohli at mid-off or mid-on and Jasprit Bumrah running it with the ball, and that aggressive captain looking to pounce on the batter got added to Indian cricket, which I had never ever seen.
Mohammed Shami also constantly needs to be challenged. Like, he would bowl no balls in the net, and when I bring it to his notice, he would say, "Match में नहीं होता है." I said, "Match में नहीं होगा, मगर यही speed डालोगे क्या match?" Test cricket, it is about attacking the areas which you feel are uncomfortable and make run scoring difficult. That gives you a chance of stringing good balls with patience will fetch you wickets. So it's not about magic. If you knew the magic ball, I'll bowl 10 magic balls and get 10 wickets all the time. So that is not possible. Stringing together good balls, to have that discipline, to have that. Fast bowler requires as much patience or even more patience than a batter.
Hello and welcome to another episode of Bombay Sport Exchange. My name is K Shriniwas Rao. Well, as we watch the Indian team in action, I felt compelled all the more to kind of try and invite this particular guest to our show. It's been a pleasure. It's a pleasure to have Mr. Bharat Arun, the former bowling coach of the Indian national team, on our show. Thank you so much for taking the time out.
It's a pleasure always to interact with you, and I'm happy to be on the show.
Awesome. I don't even know where to begin. When I was training myself to think that I need to get into a conversation with Bharat Arun. The body of work. Whether we are going to start with domestic cricket, whether we're going to start with the National Cricket Academy, whether we're going to start with the Indian team or IPL. So there is a lot to talk about. Before I get there, the immediate thought that comes to my mind, the challenge that India's coaching department has been facing on the bowling front post your exit from the national team. Okay. And let me start by saying this, that the bar was set high enough, okay, which obviously in the ensuing years has not been matched. Okay. What is happening from the outside when you look back at a space which you have exited? How do you see it? What is happening? What is the current Indian bowling setup telling you?
To be very fair, India always boasted of a good pace attack in the past. If you look at Kapil Dev, Zahir Khan, Irfan Pathan, Ashish Nehra, Javagal Srinath, Venkatesh Prasad, and so on. You can name so many bowlers who have played for the country. Similarly, during the time when I was the bowling coach of the national cricket team, we had a half a dozen really good fast bowlers. And those fast bowlers exist even now. To me, when I took over the team, one thing that was very striking was we always had talent, but we did not have consistency in our attack. And consistency at this level, you're challenging the best in the world. And when you do that, there are two ways of creating pressure. One is to cut down the run scoring, and two is to get wickets. And now, how do you get wickets? Is to bowl, understand each and every batter, and try and attack those areas which the batter is not comfortable. So you need the discipline in your attack to be consistent. These are the only traits that we did work on, really. Apart from a little bit of work on the technique, every time we enter the net, we said match is going to be, the net is going to be like a match. So you cannot recreate a pressure in the net scenario, but all you can do is you can tell me what you want to execute before you do that. And I will be very rigid about how the execution was. So when you have some measurable goal each time, the number of balls they are bowled to, how many number of balls they are able to execute what they want to. And so you need to bridge the gap by working hard on making that more and more successful. It is a simple theory. And but this day in and day out, whenever you come into bowl, this should be the mantra.
The overall setup that I'm looking at, under Gautam Gambhir, uh, and I don't know. I mean, even he maybe is trying to see how he can make things possible. But the immediate thing that comes to my mind is, do you think there is a need of to have more patience with the setup once you pick them? Like for example, once I, let's say, pick a Prasidh Krishna, okay, or whoever it is, whether I pick a Prasidh Krishna or whether I pick an Anshul Kamboj or anybody in that age group, I have identified. I'm looking at a bowler to consider whether he should be in my test team or not. I have identified that this bowler has made a journey this far, right? And that is why I'm able to consider him in the first place. Now, after all, he is human, right? I mean, how do you kind of judge the temperament levels? What are the basic parameters that you need to be kept in mind? For example, someone like Prasidh in the first test against England, sprayed, and obviously Twitter went after that kid,
Exactly.
and suddenly the next test match he was out. Rather would not step into anybody's shoes to kind of judge whether Prasidh needed to stay or needed to go. The question is, at a young age like that, what do you do to that bowler? Do you persist with him that can give him some amount of confidence? Or do you take, is that a judgment call at any given point in time, whether it will work or whether it will not work? How does one go about?
See, let's take Prasit for an example. In the first test, everybody felt he bowled too short, and those were not the lengths to be bowled in England. And actually, the next test, I must say, in the second innings, he made the adjustment, and he was bowling. He came back to bowling good lengths, the right lengths in England. And then when he realized that, he was dropped for the next match. So, in all fairness, okay, I can understand he was dropped because Bumrah came into the next game. But again, when Anshul Kamboj flies from India, and you already have somebody who's played 2 test matches and who is in England with the team and who is capable of bowling 140 clicks, there was enough time for you to work on him to get the lengths right in England. Prasidh Krishna was, I wouldn't say he is a very talented bowler. Somebody who can bowl 140 clicks plus consistently is a talent. And now the choice of the length was wrong, which could have been worked on. They could have made to understand. I think making mistakes is perfectly all right, but the sooner you realize it's a mistake and want to do things to offset that mistake, that is the challenge for any professional sportsman. It's not about making mistakes. I would encourage him to make newer mistakes, but not the same mistake again. So Prashid had realized his mistake, and just about when he was about bowling well, unfortunately he had to be dropped. So I think it's in the thought process. The talent is always there. Uh, Everything that work that you do with the boys, you don't coach the sport as such. You coach the person. You coach the person, you coach the thought process.
And
If the
management.
thought process changes, automatically he is going to be bowling there. And to match that, as I said earlier about consistency, how your thought process is and how you execute in the net is a challenge. Give him feedback about that. As a bowling coach, I would have kept the right length that would suit his bowling in England and consistently hitting, because to a bowler it's about feel. And I have to create an atmosphere that gives him that feel. I cannot tell him release from here, there, or no. But I can give him the feel as to where he needs to release to pitch the ball in one particular length. So, as a coach, my challenge is to make him understand that, is to empower a bowler about his own potential. That is the biggest challenge for a coach. And I think Prasidh Krishna, if he had been empowered about his lens, which I thought he came back well
In the second test
in
match.
the second test match, would have been the obvious choice for the Lord's test match.
You talked about allowing someone to fail. It's perfectly all right, right? So do you, and it's always been the story in sport that unless you fail, you don't rise. And when you rise, you remember these failures, and then that's how you pick on them. Like so, but you think in Indian cricket that cushion of allowing somebody to fail is like kind of moving to the extent that patience levels are all going for a toss. You are judged with each session. Forget a test match. Forget a series. Each session you bowl and you don't deliver. I'm going to sit down here on television, watch you, and judge you. How right is that thought process? Do you think there is uh, too much of judging that's happening, and kind of and the putting pressure in turn on the coaching staff?
The biggest problem is the problem of too many in our country. Whereas in countries like Australia or New Zealand or England, there are fewer cricketers who play the sport. So when you identify someone, you are given all the patience, you're giving all the backing so that they flower and blossom into a good player. But in India, we expect them to be ready-made.
Because somebody else is always waiting.
Yeah, because somebody else is also waiting for you. So the minute they fail, uh, it works on their mind. When the next match, more than focusing on the process, their focus is more on the outcome. When the focus is on the outcome, either getting runs or scoring wickets, you tend to get desperate. Whereas you need to be enjoying even a defensive shot for a batter. The bowler has bowled a magnificent ball, but I am too good to be beaten. I am defending it from the middle of the bat is an enjoyable thing to me. As a bowler, what is enjoyable is keeping the batter in uncomfortable areas, because wicket taking is an ability that happens with when I follow the process. So my job is to enjoy the process, then the outcome takes care of itself. Unfortunately, because of the talent pool available in our country, there is pressure on the players and they are more focused on the outcome than the process.
Unfortunate. Take me back to 2017. Um, y'all come, Ravi Shastri takes over as the head coach. You come on board as the bowling coach, and the first tour is to Sri Lanka, tour of 2017. Now, a couple of things are happening. Number one, Hardik Pandya is a serious test all rounder at that point. Okay, great asset with the ball. Of course, with the bat also. I still remember that century he scored in
Candy.
second innings.
Yeah, exactly.
But again, sticking to the bowling part, y'all are coming, y'all are assessing the bowling attack that's in place. Ishant is there. You'll have a Shami who's already there. You'll have a captain who's like a. I remember your own words when we were talking about Virat Kohli. It was like a tiger inside the dressing room trying to mark his territory.
Exactly.
Right? A captain who's kind of raring to go. Or want an express pace attack. Tell me, what was the first thing you did? How did you all go about, set about with that journey in understanding and putting your thoughts together in terms of what you, Ravi, and Virat wanted, and the whole process of identifying Jasprit Bumrah, and how did all of that happen?
See, that Sri Lankan tour was a great tour for the Indian team. We won all the 9 matches, 3 tests,
Yes.
3 one-days and 3 T20s, everything we won. So then Virat and Ravi, having gotten together after the break, they complement each other a lot. They're very similar thought processes. Of course, Ravi was a lot more senior to Virat, so Virat could really look up to Ravi for guidance. As a friend who he could talk anything and he would get the right answers from, or he would be guided right, or somebody to take the punching bag. So both were very passionate about Test cricket, and they wanted India to be number one Test playing country in the world. At that time, India was about number
Single
4.
point agenda.
Yeah,
We have to be the number one
number
Test
one
playing country
Test
in the
playing
world.
country in the world. And so, yes, it's a great dream to have. But all of us got together as support staff and said, to be the number one country in the world, there are so many things you need to tick the boxes. Like when you play, it's forget about playing at home. We know how strong we are in the subcontinent. But when we go and play in Sena countries, that is when the biggest challenge is for us. And what are the qualities we need to win, do well in the Sena countries? So first thing they decided was being honest and being fearless. Fearless meaning not even afraid to lose. We don't mind. The first time when we went to Australia, I remember Ravi telling the players, I don't mind losing 4-0, but the brand of cricket that we're going to play matters. Give it back to them. The positivity and the extreme positive cricket that we are going to play in Australia will set the foundation for us to do well in the future. So we said we are not going to be worried about wickets. Give us any wicket, we will play. We look at it as home condition. It's the same for both the teams.
It's a major talking point which we are going to come
Yeah.
to.
Next thing was our fast bowling attack. I said we have a good bunch of fast bowlers, but they need to be creating pressure and they need to be getting us 20 wickets. So we have to equip them. Fitness is the key. Because very often you see they play first two test matches, India do well, and then they drop out because the quality of bowlers goes down because they are fatigued. So that element has to be taken place. So we have to put fitness norms into place, consistency of the bowlers, and then batters should play any ball in the net. There was no complaint about saying I'm getting bounced at or I'm whatever it is. So even the throwdown guys, they bowl balls which could literally kill some of the batters.
Bird stories.
But if they say if they say anything to the bowler, Ravi stands behind them and asks the throwdown guys to bowl more bouncers. So he says, become tough. Learn to negotiate. This is the because in the match nobody is going to tell you I'm going to bowl a bouncer. It is a surprise. So better get used to the surprise in the net when the conditions are also not very conducive. It is not open. Of course, there is a slight claustrophobic feeling in the net, but then if you can under pressure get over the bouncers there in the middle, it will be a lot easier. So these are the things, small 1% factors, which we are really going to work on to be consistent in these 1% factors. So when we decided these are the things, and fielding, our fielding has to be spot on. So every day, everybody take responsibility to go and field at your own pace. And then you can, the intensity of the fielding is done by the coach, but everybody wanting to field becomes a norm. So because everyone
Get into the habit.
get into the habit of doing that every single session that we have. So these were the qualities that we put into place. And these were the pointers. It is not rocket science. It was the simple things, but simple things done with a purpose.
Diligence.
Yeah. So that was put into practice. And slowly they started reaping the results of these kind of practice things. Everybody looked forward to practice. Practice was tough. It wasn't easy. And so these are the things. And matches became an extension of what we are facing at practice.
The attack, specifically, if I were to ask, when did you all identify and come to an understanding that Jasprit Bumrah is someone y'all would pursue, and when did that happen? I mean, was it already on your mind when you took over as the bowling coach? What was happening?
To be honest, no. After the 2017 tour of Sri Lanka, 2018, 17, 18, I think we went to South Africa.
Yeah, December.
So that December we went to South Africa. So that was when Ravi said, we are going to South Africa. We are playing 3 test matches and we need these guys to be on the top of their game, because South Africa had a very good fast bowling attack and we knew what kind of wickets we would be getting in South Africa. And they did not know that we possess this. So we said we need to strengthen our attack. That time we had Mohammed Shami, we had Ishant Sharma, we had Umesh Yadav,
Yeah.
and we had Bhuvanesh Kumar with us.
Oh.
So yes, then he asked me in a casual conversation, what do you think of Bumrah? Because Bumrah, till then, one day cricket he played, he impressed one and all. So that is when, because I share a relationship with Bumrah right from under 19 days. And Bumrah always used to tell me, sir, I love bowling. Bowling, so you cannot get me off bowling. Even in the gully cricket, and even when he plays, when he comes down from his apartment and with the kids he plays, he says, I tell them I'll be the common bowler for both the teams. I don't want to bat. So that was his love for bowling. And he always told me, sir, look at my Ranji Trophy record. I am basically a test cricketer and I want to play test cricket. So
He's the one who came forward and said this.
he used to tell me this all the time. And when Ravi asked me about Bumrah, I told Ravi, these are the conversations I've had with Boom. So he said, call him up. Now we were in a taxi. I clearly, very vividly remember we were in a taxi going for a puja in Kolkata. So he said, call him up. So I called him from a taxi. He said, yes, Paji. He said, Ravi wants to speak to you. And here is the call. And I gave it to Ravi. So Ravi told him, Booms, I'm thinking of taking you with me to South Africa. Are you prepared for it? So he said, that is my dream. So there it started. Then Ravi said, we need to work with Virat. We need to work with the selectors. We need to convince them that we need this. So
that is some convincing.
Yeah, exactly. So Virat was convinced. He told Ravi, if you have the confidence, go ahead. And they had a word with the selectors. And that's how Bumrah came into this.
One of the things about him at that point, even right from the word go, was is that action sustainable? Like, for example, I'll tell you, I was there on that tour of South Africa in 2018. I remember Michael Holding, not just on air, but even off air, when, kind of casually talking. He wasn't kind on Bumrah at all. I mean, and coming from Michael Holding, you can imagine, I mean,
Exactly.
people are going to take it seriously. And I don't remember the exact words, but something to the effect that this guy is not going to last too long with the kind of action that he has. I mean, the stress that is going to take on his body with the kind of, the straight arm of his, etc. The biomechanics don't work. So I'm sure when you all identified Boom in 2017, and when you gave that phone to Ravi, talk to him, was this thought there at the back of your mind that, will this guy last? What was your assessment?
I know Bumrah since 2014. He had 13. In fact, 2013, he had come to NCA for an under-19 camp. And he pitched for the selections of the India under-19 team. He couldn't get into the team, but he was in the 30-member camp at the National Cricket Academy. In all fairness, we also tried to change Bumrah's action. He was remodeled, but then the action was great. The ball was not going quick. So what's the point in having a great action and then the ball's not being effective? With this, he could bowl quick. He was bowling quick.
Rocket arm of his.
Yeah. And so we had a discussion with the physio and the strength and conditioning coach at the NCA. We said, this is the problem with Bumrah, but I wouldn't want to touch his action because it's very unique. And he's able to generate a lot of pace. What are the repercussions of this? So we decided, we analyzed his action, and we said that exactly what Michael Holding said, that it puts him under a lot of stress. So what do we do next? We said, we call this guy, we called Bumrah, and we had a chat with him and said, do you realize your action, you are able to bowl quick, which is very good, but your action places tremendous amount of stress on your body. So which means to take the impact of the fast bowling, you need to be like a bull. So which again comes down to your diet, your exercise, and the sacrifices you make. In all fairness, Bumrah instantaneously changed. He started eating healthy. He was working in the gym. Like a lot of things have been said about fitness culture of Virat Kohli. Bumrah is no less. Bumrah is as dedicated in the gym as you would see a Virat Kohli. Because Bumrah is very fond of eating. One day he came and told me, "Sir, when I give up the game, I will be bigger than you." He said, "Because I love eating." He was fond of milkshakes, he was fond of burgers, pizzas, and all that. So overnight, he gave up everything.
A Punjabi boy living in
Yeah,
Gujarat, I can
exactly.
imagine.
Punjabi boy living in Gujarat, but his dedication, he says, my love for bowling, I don't even feel these are sacrifices. Anything I need to give up for my bowling, I'm willing to.
Wow.
So that was his dedication then. So I knew Bumrah from under 19 days, and that's what when I told Ravi, when Ravi asked about Bumrah, I said he's somebody who loves bowling. He would do anything if he feels that he'll get a chance to bowl. Look at his Ranji Trophy record also. That says it all. So that is when Ravi also convinced the selectors. Virat Kohli convincing was a different thing. Virat on principle had agreed to Bumrah, but to convince him to play in the 11, that's another story. In Cape Town. I will tell you that story later. But yes, this was the story behind Bumrah. We knew that his action is unique, but also the batters at the NCA said they were not able to pick his action well, which is a great thing. So why change when there's something very unique about it? We don't understand it. He's able to bowl fast. There is no guarantee that if you change his action, he'll be quicker. So as long as it lasts, let him do. But what we can do as a team is to work on his physical strength to make sure it takes the rigors of fast bowling.
And the demeanor, Jasprit's demeanor is such, he's soft spoken, such a well mannered boy that when you talk to him, you don't immediately, that aggression doesn't reflect it. You don't really know what is that burning inside him. That I saw a beast getting unleashed in that Cape Town Test match. I will never forget what I saw, especially India bowled in the second innings when he brought us back into the game.
Bumrah, as you said, absolutely controlled aggression. He's boiling inside. He's angry. But over the years, he's learned to channelize his anger to the ball. He said, what is the point in showing anger? I need to channelize all my energy onto the ball. So he's done wonderfully well. But his face shows no emotions. Whether he bowls, whether he's hit or whether he gets a wicket, he's content with himself. And he always tells me, sir, to me, this is something which he realized, which we discussed even much earlier, that bowling to me is about enjoying bowling good balls, string of good balls. There is no magic ball. There is string of good balls, uncomfortable balls, which I keep bowling to a batter, is the biggest. I enjoy that. Sometimes I get wickets, sometimes I don't. So I'm prepared for that. Wickets are a byproduct of your consistent bowling. And sometimes you may not, but you may help your partner to get a wicket because you have created the pressure. So he said, I'm happy to do the job for a team, which is great attitude as a fast bowler.
And again, never, fast bowlers like to get into arguments with the batters. Never seen, just always draws a line, never gets into unnecessary arguments. Kind of. That's again a very rare quality.
He feels
express fast bowler.
Absolutely. He feels the ball should do the talking, not the man. Right. So I think he's got everything right for him.
What were you saying about the 11 in Cape Town, Virat?
Because we had 10 days before the first test in Cape Town, and we were having centre wicket practice. And Ravi wanted Bumrah to play. So
the first test.
First test. So when we were discussing, I told Ravi the best way to convince Virat is when Virat bats, give Bumrah the new ball.
Oh,
okay. So in the centre wicket, 2 occasions, Bumrah bowled. He was scary. I would say he was scary. He was that good. And
until then, Virat had never faced him.
Not faced him.
Maybe in IPL.
Maybe IPL or thing on the net. Not in a net where Bumrah says you have a chance of playing a test match. Here's your captain. Go and impress his captain. So that was the spell that Bumrah bowled. After second day, I clearly, very vividly remember Virat Kohli, after playing Bumrah, walked up to Ravi and said, at any cost, I want this guy in the 11. There, he had won it. So captain being convinced about Bumrah's ability, and Virat said, "Isko, I feel to pick him is difficult." And I thought maybe it's because, and Virat was batting brilliantly at that time. He was batting like a
Top of the world.
dream,
Top of the world.
and he said to me, to pick him is difficult, so it's going to be tough for most of the batsmen. And I want him in the, and that's how Bumrah never looked back after that.
Yeah, I mean, one of the most pleasing sights when watching Indian cricket is like seeing Virat Kohli at mid-off or mid-on and Jasprit Bumrah running it with the ball, and that aggressive captain, kind of pounce, looking to pounce on the batter, and I mean, that was an element that got added to Indian cricket which I had never ever seen, and it just refuses to leave my mind. I mean, I was just way too impressed with what I saw. But then, as much as Jasprit took advantage of the opportunity that came his way, I would like to believe that the real man of the occasion was Mohammed Shami, a magician.
He was Mohammed Shami was too good, because whenever I look at his bowling, when I stand as an umpire when these boys are bowling, and when I look at the seam position at release, I thought probably he was one of the best seam position in world cricket. And another bowler who I saw was Srishant.
Yeah.
Srishant had a wonderful, wonderful seam position, and Shami was outstanding.
You can actually count Javagal, Srishant,
And Shami was
Shami.
the best
Okay.
of that. So Shami was sometimes the problem with Shami was strong. He could bowl. He can be scary. And the best memory I have of Shami was in the Perth Test in 2018, when literally he made the Australian batters were flinching, and that made me very, very happy. An Indian bowler, we have been used to taking this from them, and now an Indian bowler, he and Booms were bowling a spell in tandem, and it was a sight. The best sight I enjoyed as a coach in my life was to see a foreign batter flinch in his own land, and our bowlers being part of that. It was an amazing
I think that
journey.
Perth was the turnaround after which they stopped dishing us fast bowling tracks.
Exactly. And Mohammed Shami also, he constantly needs to be challenged. Like, he would bowl no balls in the net, and when I bring it to his notice, he would say, "मैच में नहीं होता है." I said, "मैच में नहीं होगा, मगर यही स्पीड डालोगे क्या मैच पे? मगर आपको, if you want me to, if you don't want to bowl no balls, if you want me to stand as an umpire, I will do that. So I do not want you to bowl no balls in the net." So he will, we have a banter. Like I say, आप तो नहीं छोड़ते कुछ भी ऐसा. I said, नहीं छोड़ूंगा ये. Let us, we say match is an extension of net. So in the net, it cannot be no balls, and match no balls. There's something wrong, something missing. So, but then he takes it, and we share a wonderful relationship with the boy, because coaching is about building relationships. It's not about, you need to build relationships, you need to build the trust, you need to understand every bowler, and it's not about instructions, it is about empowering a bowler about his strength and what are the things that he could do to complement his bowling. This understanding of a bowler by the bowler is exceptionally important in them doing very well, at least in any format, not only in
I
test
remember
matches.
a conversation with you. We were just generally discussing Mohammed Shami, and you saying that, at times the trick to kind of get him into the right mood was to just allow him to be, let him be, just allow him to do what he wants to do. Like he loves to eat, like for example, a well-eaten Mohammed Shami is again so allow him
Exactly.
to have his mutton biryani, and then kind of see the magic unfold. Is it?
Um, of course, he loves to eat. He eats very healthy.
Oh, is it? Okay. I thought
Inadvertently,
he's a proper
he
foodie.
loves his biryanis and
Yeah,
all
yeah.
that, but he loves his kebabs, because our strength and conditioning coach Basu always tells me that he eats very healthy, actually.
Wow.
And Shami was amongst the fittest in the team. So he was strong, he was fit, and Mohammed Shami loved to eat. There's one particular instance I remember in the Johannesburg Test match when they were chasing 210 and they were 120 odd for two. And during lunchtime, Mohammed Shami's plate was full. So Ravi Shastri walked along and said, "तेरा भूख चला गया क्या? इधर ही तेरा भूख मिटा दिया तो उधर विकेट कौन लेगा?" Shami just threw the plate and he walked out. So Ravi told me, "Leave him alone. Don't talk to him." So then he went. After lunch, he didn't eat anything. So when Shami went, he got 5 for 13 or something, and
Right.
they were from 150 for 3. They ended up being all out for 170 odd.
Anger, all the anger went there.
All the anger went there. And then when he came in, I was standing with a plate of biryani for him. And they said, "Sami, abhi tera bhook mithale." So I remember this conversation with Shami. Later on, he came and told me, casually in the practice, he told me, "Paji, मुझे ना हमेशा जाने से पहले गुस्सा करो कुछ तो भी बोल के." तो ऐसा वो तो देख लेंगे, मगर गुस्सा होना बोल के मैं करे तो आप गुस्सा नहीं होंगे, सच में गुस्सा होना चाहिए. So that was the kind of relationship we shared with all the bowlers. It was fun, but also we are being firm without being harsh. Tell them their strengths. Everyone like to know the good things that they do. I think it is very important as a coach to remind them about the good things that they do, and also then tell them that these are the areas that we need to work harder to become better. So coaching is a golden moment when you tell person, and how you put it across to them is comes out of experience. If you tell them before or after, it doesn't work. The golden moment is something which you realize as a coach, where you talk to them about the things that they need
Again,
to
I
do.
remember your line where you talked about, it's like dealing with racehorses,
Exactly.
derby horses. Like, you don't make, but then the thing about dealing with racehorses, stallions, is that you don't make them run every race.
Exactly.
You keep them for the derby, you keep them for those high profile races, right? Now, coming back to the same Jasprit Bumrah, you can't expect a Jasprit Bumrah to play Asia Cup, Champions Trophy, IPL, and then play 5 test matches against England. So where do we draw the line? Where do we say that, okay, I mean, this is what we want out of Bumrah? I mean, I have always said this, that BCCI should pay Jasprit Bumrah 20 crores a year to not play the IPL.
So again, this is about workload management. You have hit the nail on the head. Workload, managing workloads. You're human. There is so much cricket going around. And if you want to be the best, especially fast bowling takes a huge toll on you. It's not about not playing. It's preparing your body to play any kind of cricket, maybe test cricket, maybe one-day cricket, or maybe T20 cricket. Preparing you to be successful in that format, so that in test cricket, there is no guarantee as to how many number of overs I would bowl in a test match. It can be 25 in an innings, it can be even 35, 40 in an innings. Overall, in a test match, you bowl somewhere between 40 to 50 overs. So that takes a huge toll on the body. Your body needs recovery time. So workload management is about what are we doing post match, because you cannot control how many overs a bowler bowls in a match. Post match, how do I manage him so that before the next game, he is fully fit, he is fully recovered, with good sleep, with good exercise, with good diet, and empowering a bowler about these things become mandatory. And once they understand this, they make all the sacrifice, because they see the performance, they see the happiness of going there and contributing to the team. So that is the biggest motivating force for them. When they see that happen with the disciplines that they keep, it makes your job easier as a coach.
So workload management is not necessarily about playing less or taking break from the game. I mean,
Never.
That's
never.
how it is perceived to be.
See, in especially for a fast bowler, over bowling and under bowling both are bad. You need optimum number of overs under your belt to be bowling fit. Ideally, if you're playing test matches, sometimes the workload can be up, so that you need to bowl 20 overs in a day. So we prepare you for that. Sometimes you come to a net, you bowl in the morning, you bowl 5 overs in the afternoon, then take a break, come back after that, and you bowl another 6 or 7 overs. So sometimes there are days when you bowl 20 overs. Plus, I'm not counting what they stand on the field. You don't need everything to be worked out as in the field, but 20 overs, but then give them a break the next day. But break in the sense not complete off. They'll be in a gym session, they can be in a running session, anything that complements your fast bowling. Fast bowling is about like this: 50% skill, 50% your talent and technique. So if you overdo one, there's an imbalance. There has to be the right balance between fitness work and your skill work. They have to complement each other.
This is on field. I mean, in the case of someone like Shami, there were so many off the field distractions also. I remember having this chat with Ravi where, in fact, I remember telling this to myself, in fact, that Ravi came into his life like a blessing, because it was at a time when he was undergoing so much of personal trauma with his family life, his divorce, etc. And I remember I was talking to Ravi one evening, and he said, what, we need to protect this guy at all costs. So whatever it is, whether it is the legalities that involved in his personal life, he needs a good lawyer, he needs good legal advice. We are there. We must support him so that India doesn't lose out on the bigger asset, which is Mohammed Shami, the fast bowler. Would you like to share anything about what happened behind the scenes?
Exactly. I think when Shami was going through the trauma of personal life, its divorce and things like that, we heard about it, and then there was talks of Shami being arrested because of things like that. I think, if I'm not mistaken, we were in Sri Lanka at that time,
Right.
and Ravi asked me to call up Shami, and I did call Shami. He did not answer. Then I messaged him. He called me back. So then Ravi spoke to him, and told him, any support you need from us, lawyers or anything, please feel free to ask. In fact, he told BCCI, he spoke to people in the
The
BCCI.
COA was in.
COA was there. I think Gaurav Saxena was there representing BCCI. He was the bridge between the team and the BCCI. He told Gaurav Saxena as well that I want BCCI also to support Shami in every possible way that we can. And adding to this, I think 2018, just before the tour of England, we had a match against Afghanistan, test match in Bangalore.
Yeah.
Shami failed the fitness test. Shami failed the fitness test. He was dropped from the team. He was very dejected. That was the peak of his personal problem as well. So he came to my room and he said, Paji, मैं तो क्रिकेट छोड़ दूंगा, मैं क्रिकेट छोड़ने वाला हूँ. So I asked him, क्रिकेट छोड़ के क्या करेगा तू? तो क्या जानता है तू? आज जो भी है वो क्रिकेट के वजह से है, और क्रिकेट छोड़ेगा तो क्या करेगा? He said, मुझे पता नहीं, बहुत गुस्सा है मेरे अंदर. So I said, चला मिलते हैं. I took him to Ravi. He said the same thing. Ravi said, गुस्सा है तो बहुत अच्छा है. तो वो गुस्सा, तेरे हाथ में बॉल है, बॉल के ऊपर गुस्सा दिखा तो दुनिया हिल जाएगा, तू ऐसा करेगा तो नहीं, मेरा मन ही नहीं हो रहा. मन नहीं हो रहा क्योंकि तेरा बॉडी नहीं हो रहा है. ऐसे ही छोड़ देगा तो तू चले जाएगा. तो एक काम कर, हम लोग तुझे, वी सेंड यू टू NCA for 1 month just before we embarked to England. We sent him to NCA, and the only instruction was to work on him physically. No bowling. So I clearly remember the conversation midway during, first was the one-day series in England. Midway during the one-day series, 3 weeks after we sent him to NCA, he called me and he said, Paji, मैं तो अभी घोड़े की तरह भाग रहा हूँ. I said, बहुत अच्छा है, और एक हफ्ता 10 दिन गुजार ले, थोड़ा bowling भी कर ले, फिर we'll call you to England. So that is how Mohammed Shami came, and he played those 5 test matches in England. The 5th test match, after tea time, on the last day, he bowled a spell of 140. That was his fitness level. Amazing it was. That's when Mohammed Shami realized what he could do when he did work on fitness as well.
And after that, there's been no looking back.
It's a brilliant story.
While we talk about Bumrah and Shami, There was another guy delivering yeoman service and aged like fine wine, Ishant Sharma. I don't know. I mean, it looked like, the with each birthday of Ishant, he became a wiser person with the ball. At least that's how, silent. He would. I think he was available for you whenever everybody started, call Ishant, get
Exactly.
him back. Old ball, new ball, just get him back. Any occasion, like what, like was he the guy you all depended on to kind of do the back end, or how did it work? How did you all treat Ishant in that setup?
In fact, Ishant came to me in Sri Lanka. Sri Lanka, it was Mohammed Shami and Umesh Yadav who were playing, and Ishant did not play in Sri
This
Lanka.
is 17.
In 17. So Ishant used to come to me and he asked me, why am I not playing? So I said, because you are fallen, it is like rating every bowler, and your rating is number 3. We are playing only 2 now. So you can become number 1 as well. It's nobody has anything, but in the eyes of the management, these 2 are the best now. You are third in line. So he did not like it when I told him that. But I think it's good to be honest because our whole foundation had to be on honesty, because I have to deal with him for the rest of my tenure. And if he knows that I'm honest, then he would respect me for that. So when he did not initially like it, in fact, he didn't speak to me for 2, 3 days. And he came and asked me, why is it that you're not playing me? Why am I third in the line? I said, because you bowl very economically and you do not get wickets. The wickets column are not as big. But even the economical part of it is you do not make the batters play as often as you would like to. So you would like, if you can change that, it would be great. So as luck would have it, when we came back, I think it was in Nagpur, one day, Ishant used to go very close to the stumps and bowl. And Ishant has a wrist which is slightly tilted, which favors him to bowl those beautiful outswingers to left-handers from round the wicket. He was getting too close to the stump, and as a result, when he wanted to go out, for left-handers it was going too wide, and for right-handers also it was
Down the
down the leg he used to bowl. So we just changed one thing with Ishant, and because he was going so close to the stumps, his body was also falling a bit because he probably felt that he's going to hit the stumps or the umpire. All we did was change the slight angle of his run up and said, come from the middle of the box rather than close to the box. So you automatically have an angle which is outside the off stump to the thing. If you're bowling to left-handers, you can afford to go close, but when bowling to right-handers, you use the box from middle to wide. It will be a great change for you. And the position of his wrist also complemented that angle. It's a small change in angle. So we asked him to do that, and when we videoed and showed the video to him, he was surprised to find his position of his body. It was a lot taller than when he was going closer to the stumps. And we had not spoken about it. His body automatically made that adjustment because he was a lot more aligned and balanced in the direction in which he wanted to bowl. So he liked it immediately. He also saw that the ball were coming back in consistently and also on the off stump line. So everything worked by a small change of angle. So when you showed the videos to him, he was also convinced, and that was I would say, the big resurgence of. He didn't do anything much, just changing the angle of thing, and he became a dream bowler for India. Anytime you were in trouble, he was the
exactly.
workhorse. He was the workhorse. Captain should go, Ishant, you take this. He would bowl long spells for you. He would come back for you anytime. He was an invaluable asset for India after that.
I don't know. For the first time, I realized that there were 3 to 4 good quality fast bowlers in the team. And it wasn't like at any point anybody was competing with the other. They were all so comfortable in their skin and in their own space. It was almost like they all knew what their individual responsibilities were, and I think that credit goes to the coaching staff in terms of how you all managed to, ensure that they work like a team. I mean,
See, every bowler is different. every bowler is different, and in a team you're bound to have 4 or 5 bowlers, and only 3 can play, or maximum 4 will play. But the other person feels left out. Then we need to understand and speak to the bowler as to about their strengths. Each bowler we have to say that the uniqueness in them. So it is important as a coach to bring forward what they are as bowlers, what their strengths are, and it has to match with what they think their strengths are. So once you do that, also telling them areas, in that way I felt one of the most unfortunate bowlers was Umesh Yadav. He could bowl quick, he could move the ball, he could reverse the ball, but unfortunately he didn't get to play too much for India during that tenure, because Ishant was there, Bumrah,
He
you had
was
Mohammed
fourth in
Shami,
the line.
he was fourth in the thing. But actually in Sri Lanka, it became number 2 after Shami. But after Sri Lanka, somehow, when he came back to India, then we went to South Africa, Bhuvanesh Kumar was included, Bumrah was included. So that's when he fell back a bit. But still, he was brilliant. Whenever given the opportunities in India, he came out with wonderful spells with the ball that he could reverse. Unfortunately, we couldn't play him much outside India.
I remember, in the run up to the next tour of England, we went back in 2021, right, to England. So I think in the run up to that tour, I wrote a piece for the Times of India where I said, disappointing to see Bhuvaneshwar Kumar not giving or not putting attaching more importance to his test career. Like, he looked so content playing white ball cricket, and on a tour of England, I thought if Bhuvaneshwar can't go on a tour of England, then I don't see, where else can he contribute better, and he was upset. He tweeted saying, no, I'm very much, kind of wanting to play test cricket, etc. But we never got to see Bhuvaneshwar at that level again, and I think that was such a big miss for us. I mean, Bhubaneswar on a tour of England can be a dream.
In fact, this is what even Ravi always felt. He felt when we really needed Bhuvanesh Kumar in England, he wasn't fit enough. And that's a tour, he always says, 2018. Uh, that was a brilliant tour for Bhuvanesh, and because what he could bring to the table,
Yeah.
move the ball both ways, and ideal conditions, England for his, and he could bat a bit also. Bhuvanesh
Right.
was he
Yes.
could bat
Yes.
a bit. The all-rounder position that we're looking for was before, because Hardik also couldn't play all the games because of his fitness and things like that. So Bhuvanesh was ideal, but I think somewhere is he went down on his fitness, and at the right opportune moment he couldn't play for it. But someone who with tremendous amount of abilities, but I would say whose abilities were not utilized fully was Bhuvanesh Kumar.
Very unfortunate. And so the saying goes that, the more you sweat in peace, the less you bleed in war, and that's where I come from. The the bowling that happens at home, uh, you know, for the kind of pitches have been such a big talking point. I'll come to that, but the bowling that was happening at home and what India aspired to do when they were traveling were two very different canvases, right? One had nothing to do with the other. It was almost like, a bowler having to kind of build a sort of a split personality where you would be a different bowler at home and where you would be a different bowler abroad. In that, do you think it's a space that Indian cricket needs to address better? It's a space where Indian cricket needs to understand what are our strengths and how do we intend to play our cricket. Because I'll tell you what, in trying to be a team that engages in very good fast bowling, we have not paid attention to quality spin to the extent that not just that we don't have quality spinners going forward, we as a team can't even bat well against spin. We are not good players of spin bowling anymore, what we used to be 10
Exactly.
years ago. So where does that leave us? That transitioning, okay, on one side, yes, we did produce great fast bowlers, and we kind of changed the way we approached our game in certain countries. But there was a flip side to it as well.
There are two parts to this. One is understanding the length, what you bowl, the lengths you bowl in Australia and South Africa are pretty similar. The lengths you bowl in England, New Zealand are quite similar. The lengths you bowl in India is different. Not a major change in the length, but maybe a difference about between 8 meters and 6 meters. In between, you find the right length in all these countries to make your bowling more effective. Even if you are shorter by a yard or so, you may not be as effective as what you are in other countries. Or if you are even go further up by a yard, you may not be effective in countries like Australia, unless the ball is really moving around a bit. So I think awareness of the pitches that you would be getting in different countries, if, for example, if you're touring Australia, what are the lengths that have been successful? Now today you have so much of data available to you. If you look at their home team, why have they been successful so much? What are the lengths that they, of course the bowlers are different, their heights are different, their bowling styles are different, but overall, if you look at what has been the most successful lens in Australia for visiting teams as well as the home team, then you kind of figure out what is very good for them. So we try to bowl those lens. So you keep markers on the measure and keep those markers on those lens and ask our bowlers to see what they feel, whether it's difficult to bowl those lens or whether it comes naturally to them. I think a bowler, a caliber bowler who's playing for India should easily be adapt
Adaptable.
himself to these kind of lenses. It's
But
not
don't
a
you
big
think it
change.
would help if a bowler actually spent time, peacetime abroad? I mean, I don't know. I keep getting tired of recollecting Zair Khan's story. That phase in his life in 2004-5. I remember he was unfit. He was just not getting his length correct. He was just spraying all over. He had lost pace, and I mean, he had to take a break from the Indian setup. That's when he decided to go away to Worcestershire.
Yeah.
Oh my God, what a stint! What a lovely county stint he had. I still remember. I mean, for first division county, he walked away with 44 wickets that season. And when he came back, and this was in 2006 when he came back, and this was a year in the run up to the 2007 tour of England, when the Jelly Beans tour,
Hmm.
where he would peak,
Yeah.
and the 5 wicket haul in Nottingham. He was a different bowler when he came back from England. Uh, shouldn't we be encouraging something like that, allowing these bowlers to go spend a summer or two in the English county, kind of
It would be great, but where is the time? Yes, bowlers are in the IPL. They are the thing. And we may be going to Australia when you have to go to play to England. So again, it is about today. If we can make those adjustments, because they have played, they have exposed to different style. They are a lot more confident than what they used to be earlier. So it is about bringing that awareness to them early so that we start our practice bowling those lengths, even though it is not conducive in India. Just before we go, if we have the time to bowl those lengths and go and follow up with those lengths in that particular country where we are going. So that I feel ideally, what you're saying is a very ideal scenario. If you're playing in England, if you're playing 3 months of county cricket, that experience is brilliant, but we are hard pressed for time.
yeah. But I mean, look at how Australia and England have gone about their respect shown for take someone like Pat Cummins or Mitchell Stark, for example. No, I mean, you are not supposed to play T20 leagues when Test cricket is a priority, and that line was drawn not just by the cricket board, but it was adhered to by the players as well. See how they kind of they signed up, but again they would pull off the IPL midway, or they would kind of. I mean, there are so many instances when Cricket Australia would draw the line and saying you can't make yourself available for this IPL season or a T20 league. There is an Ashes, coming up this summer, and probably kind of that's the priority. Indian team is Indian team, or at a larger level, we fail to kind of demarcate that. I mean, Jasprit Bumrah, for example, when you know that he's coming from a five-test series in Australia, coming back here, and there is a five-test series to England that is waiting to happen, I don't see any reason why he should play the IPL. I mean, yes, I do understand he's a very vital cog in the Mumbai Indians wheel, etc. Where does that priority lie? I think there should that benchmark needs to be set very high. There is nothing more important than a five-test series in England, right? But why are we not able to put that priority in place? At once this is over, there is for 2 years you are not touring any Sena country,
Exactly.
right? You are free to play as much IPL you want, but when you are touring a country like England, why wouldn't you take a break?
Definitely, this would help, especially when you want to preserve bowlers. Like it's okay for a batter or a spinner to be
Of
playing
course.
all formats, but for a fast bowler, yes, playing too much cricket, it doesn't give you enough time to work on the physical front. So yes, this definitely can be looked into, and people like Bumrah or any other bowler for that matter, who we feel is very important for us to do well in one particular series, we can make sure that he can be rested if there is a series which is not in, and he can also be aptly compensated for that.
Yeah, I mean, just make sure he gets his fees,
Exactly.
whatever
If
it
he is
is.
aptly compensated and then he's told by BCCI, because he is on contract, we want you to work on this particular aspect of your game, which I think is fair enough.
Who among the newer lot is catching your attention?
Siraj has been there for a while. Yes,
Oh
Siraj
yeah,
is good.
actually, I need to discuss
Yeah,
Siraj also.
Siraj has been exceptional, and
Captain's delight. That's what we call
captain's
him.
delight. Yes, because every time you give him the ball, he would run in and give his 100%. That is what I expect my fast bowler to do.
He's got that energy, yeah.
He's got a fantastic energy. Now, all five test matches he's playing. If you look at this series,
Yeah.
there's the fifth test, and Siraj is there, and he's bowling with the same intensity that he did in the first test. So he's the captain's delight. So he's something who we need to be preserved. After this, he needs to get sufficient rest before he goes on to any other series in the country, so that he recovers fully physically before he plays another tournament or a series. Mohammed Siraj is there, Akashdeep, Arshdeep. These are very talented. Arshdeep being a left-hander, he can move the ball. He's strong. He's tall. I think is very good talent. Arshdeep and Akashdeep. Akashdeep can move the ball both ways. As he showed in the second test, I thought he was wonderful in that test match. And with that ability, it's not about bowling 150, 145 all the time. Even if you're mid 130s, but if you can move the ball, that is like bowling 150s today.
You were telling me about Siraj. That his test debut was trial by fire, because poor fellow, he landed in Australia in the middle of the pandemic, caught in that bio bubble, and comes to know his father
Passed
passed away.
away.
What was going through? How did you and Ravi kind of approach that? It was such a delicate
Siraj
situation.
was somebody who I knew from Hyderabad days 2016. So that's an interesting story as to how we got hold of Siraj. So then, when Siraj came to Australia, it was his dream again to play Test cricket. He used to call me when he was with the India A team, because I had already shared a rapport with him in Hyderabad. When Ravi and I are sitting together, I get a call from Siraj. He said, "Sir, मुझे कब बुला रहे उधर?" तो कहीं काम बुलाना है? नहीं सर, आप जो है ना उधर, मैं भी उधर आके खेलना चाहता हूँ, मुझे कब बुला रहे? So I said, तो क्या किया अभी? Then he would tell me what he's done in India. I said, अभी 5 wicket है. Then once he got 5 wickets against Australia, immediately he called. Ravi was there. He called. Ravi said, कौन है ये? बार बार बुलाता है, सिराज कौन है? So I said, this is what it is. India एक खेल रहा है. He's got 5 wickets. He's always asking me, when are you calling me for the Indian team? Then Ravi asked, how is he? I said, superb bowler, and he's been performing consistently for India A as well. So That is when we said we have to take Siraj into
The tour of Australia.
to a tour of Australia, Indian setup. So that's how Siraj came in, and it was a very unfortunate. The bubble time, nobody could even visit them in their rooms. Once you are confined to your rooms for a week, that is when his father passed away, and we couldn't even go to his room to offer our condolences. It was tough, but all I could do was phone him up from the room to room, and we got on a video call, and I spoke to him. He was crying. Then he said, we asked him if would you like to go back. Ravi told me, see, itna dur hai, ye kya karega abhi? If he really wants to go back, fine. Otherwise, because he knew the background from where Siraj came. Then Siraj told me, मेरा अब्बू का ड्रीम था कि मैं टेस्ट क्रिकेट खेल रहा हूँ, इतना क्लोज आ गया मैं अभी क्या कर सकता हूँ, मैं इधर ही रहूँगा, which I thought was outstanding from Siraj, and he wanted to realize his father's dream, and with Australia, that tour was magic.
I mean, what I can't get over is that thought that you are stuck inside a room, you can't move out, even your food is being given to you from outside.
It was a five-star jail.
Five-star jail. You've lost your father, and nobody can even come to your room and put a hand over your shoulder. Like, it's horrible.
I think the manager was the only one who could go, so he went. He got special permission, but none of us could visit him. So it was really tough. We spoke a lot on the phone. We spoke because WhatsApp calls we did and speak to him, but that was it. And there's nothing like a human touch, a shoulder to cry on is at that point would have meant a lot to Siraj, but there was no shoulder to cry on.
Siraj can take over the role more or less of what Ishant Sharma brought to the squad. Like, whenever
Workhorse.
a workhorse.
He is absolutely, as I always said, he's the captain's delight. Every time you want somebody to come and, bowl really good spells, Siraj is one of
Then
them.
who is our next Mohammed Shami? Who do
Well,
you
I
see
would,
with that potential? Akashdeep, you said. I mean,
Akashdeep
has
is good,
impressed you.
but of course, Shami was way ahead on that league. Arshdeep is good. He can be
Needs to generate
decent.
pace.
Yeah, he can. Arshdeep can. And there are a few more good guys like the Mayank Yadav, but unfortunately, I don't know what his fitness levels are today. If he could bowl 150 plus, and
I didn't understand one thing about that Mayank Yadav. IPL, bowls 2 overs, 150, and suddenly next morning Twitter wants him to play Test cricket. I mean, have some patience, right?
it's something. Test cricket demands a totally different ball game. You need to train for that. You need to have, of course, yeah. When a tearaway fast bowler, you don't expect him to play so many Ranji games before you give him. Yeah, you can give him a chance, but then there's also a preparatory period which he has to go through. We play India A, play these matches, 3-day matches, see his temperament in those 3-day matches, and then come to India. You just don't come to India and then you say, okay, not good enough. You're actually spoiling the confidence of a player by picking him too early and then rejecting him. I think that when you identify talent, it is also very important how we nurse that talent and nurse that talent to realize its ultimate potential. That is also a big challenge, not only with the Indian team management, also NCA plays a very big part and role in that. Having identified these bowlers, preparing them for the rigors of Indian cricket.
At what age do you start identifying a bowler? At what age do you start, like, kind of saying that, okay, now I'm going to watch him, in terms of what he can do? Like, everybody, I've seen so many parents who talk about their kids, coaches who talk about youngsters, that वो 8 साल का बच्चा है, you should see him, 10 साल का बच्चा है, you should see him. I mean, बच्चा है, उसको खेलने दो ना, let him have fun,
I
right?
think those kids should be left to play street cricket, gully cricket, everything they learn so much from there. They are watching the best in the world. They will learn from that, and they are applying what they see there in gully cricket. They are getting street smart and they're getting strong. An Indian male, if you look at growth and development, Indian male is at his strongest between 20 and 25. 25 is the peak strength, provided he has a very regimental program to build on. At 20, that's it. I'm not a very great fan of junior cricket in the sense it helps you to identify bowlers, but you have identified so many bowlers who have not gone on to
Fizzled
play
out.
for senior
Yeah.
cricket because they are fizzled out. Why? Because when you are in the growth and development stage between till about 17, 18, you're growing taller, your muscles are growing. Sometimes you're not strong enough to take the rigors of fast bowling when they push you hard. Most of the injuries happen in that age, stress fractures, and then there is no system to take care of that. Who takes care of these boys? So then there is a wrong concept, myths that have been handed over. No pain, no gain. So continue bowling without understanding whether it's a stress fracture, stress reaction. The boys don't have facilities to find out whether it is what it is, or guidance, I would say, to know how to approach these kind of factors. So yes, this is the bane of
The
too
amount
much
of
cricket.
pressure that
Yeah.
kids take and even parents
Too much
take on
cricket being
themselves.
played is a bane also. And if we could set up systems where, that's why I think coach education plays such a major part in a thing, because there are 70 million kids. I understand there are 70 million kids officially playing the sport in the country. So how many coaches do we need? I'm not saying coaches who are, extreme coaches, but we need a majority, 90% and above of the coaches to be working with the grassroots of the country. There's a great potential. And so if we can have a system where this knowledge of coaching, how to approach coaching, to break all the myths that have been handed over through generations, if we can pass on to these coaches through a system, through something, I think it would help immensely in this country. I think BCCI also have done their bit, but we cannot reach the number of coaches that we want. We need 2 million coaches, whereas we have only 3,000 or 4,000 qualified coaches in the country. So how are we going to bridge the gap? Probably online is a great platform for that. Just sharing knowledge, no exams, nothing. You look at those certified coaching matter on the net.
Examinations, I've never been too sure. I mean, I have always said this, NCA, for example, level 3 coaching. We borrowed that manual from Center of Excellence 25 years ago. Have we changed it? We need to
Okay, I would say the
upgrade.
basics of the game haven't changed over the years. It is okay, but the basics of the game have not been taught at level 3. It's taught at level A or level 1, whatever you choose to call. Level 3 is about understanding the biomechanical principles so that it allows you to eliminate guesswork. By understanding biomechanics eliminates guesswork. It allows you to go to the source of any problem and rectify it. When you go to the source, it's a very minor thing. So those ways, I think it is important for a coach to understand biomechanics and its principles. There is only an elite group of coaches who would be studying this high. But for majority of the coaches who are coaching at the grassroots, that also to me is a huge, huge investment. And somehow, if the system can make that investment where knowledge is freely available so that they can impart this knowledge and implement those techniques at grassroots levels, it would augur very well for the country.
Wow. Please tell me about your own academy. I mean, I visited your academy in Hyderabad, Maredpalli, and now you have one in Chennai also.
We have two in Chennai, we have 3 in Hyderabad, we have 1 in Orissa, which is a very flagship
This is where in
academy.
Bhubaneswar?
From Bhubaneswar to Orissa, Bhubaneswar to Cuttack, on the way
Okay.
to Bhubaneswar to Cuttack, it's about an hour's drive from the Bhubaneswar airport. and that is 50 acres of land, and beautifully built three. They're going to be they're already built two grounds, an entire practice facility.
Wow.
There is a 6-lane indoor, a full-fledged gymnasium, and a full-fledged and it's a residential academy. uh,
Oh, okay.
it is a
Somebody can
residential.
come stay there
Yeah,
and
yeah, yeah. So I would say even international teams can come and practice. That's the quality of the ground
was
and
it?
the facilities that are available. Futuristically, we are building a swimming pool. We are building other sports facilities for any kid who is coming there to play, like a beach volleyball court or a tennis court. So that multivarious sport, when you play at a young age, you develop different aspects of fitness. So that is going to be a very, very big flagship academy of ours.
Let's answer some very basic questions. And this is for so many out there who want to understand some very basic things. Like, I'll tell you a call that I got from a very dear friend last week. Okay. He was traveling with his son, obviously, who's interested in cricket, who loves bowling. I mean, very young fellow, you know. And father, obviously, there was a coach who was watching the kid who told the father that, your son is, he can, despite the young age that he is, that ball has reach, which means he has a good arm,
Hmm.
right? To this extent, it's fine. He can reach the ball at that age very well. You should pay attention to it. Now, suddenly, father is thinking in 25 directions, right? Because he's excited that his son, at that age, maybe 7 years, 8 years of age, the boy is. What should a father do? Just leave the kid alone, or give him more attention than what he's been doing already? How do you approach a scenario like that?
Very interesting question, but always I tell parents who bring their children to the academy, as as a father, you don't try to be the coach, and as a coach, I won't try to be their father. Okay, which is very important
Right.
because they try to understand this game and they try over coaching and they're over enthusiastic about their child. Any child who picks up a bat becomes a Sachin Tendulkar. Any child who picks up a ball becomes a Bumrah or an Ashwin or anybody like that. I can understand the parents thing, but what the parents can really do at that point is allow them to play. I think in India, it builds you up. Street cricket. Even when you're large apartment complexes, a lot of kids coming down playing cricket there. You see any empty ground, there's cricket going on. Those are the real teachers where they learn lessons on their own by making mistakes. And then if they take them to a good responsible coach, even at our academy, actually age group of 8 to 12, when they come, we have three sessions a week for them for the school. What we do is we make them play softball matches all the time. They're spread throughout the ground. About 8 to 10 matches are going on with a plastic
The
stump.
typical Maidan
Yeah,
culture.
Maidan culture, short. It's not 22 yards, it's about 15 yards. Because a boy of 8, if I ask him to bowl over 22 yards, it's physically not possible. So you're allowing him to develop wrong technique by early specialization. So what we do is make the distance smaller. All of us have played like that. The greatest of
Of course.
cricketers have played
Of
like that.
course.
So we try and make it fun for them. Children play sport to have fun. Not that they want to become yeah, they have dreams too. But first thing is fun. So don't take the fun element out. So we make them play a lot of matches. And now, for thing, I ask these kids, do you want to go coaching in the net? They say, sir, no, 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 I don't want. We want to play this. So keep it like that. There is a only Tendulkar playing at 16 happens once in a
Lifetime. Yeah.
lifetime. It doesn't happen every other day. Only guys who are 19, 20, 21, 22 start playing for their country. Not at 16. 16 is a rarity, especially for a bowler.
Yeah.
For a batter, maybe.
I mean, see what happened to someone like Prithvi. I mean,
Exactly. How
child.
and especially for a fast bowler, that's not the age
Yeah.
because you're physically not developed.
Yeah.
So it's wrong to say that at 15, 16, okay, you may be talented, you may have a great action, but then build upon that. You can build upon that. Not hurry into that, because we have seen so many cases of bowlers who have who done exceptionally well in junior cricket and failed to make the grade.
Wow, this was a lovely conversation. To wrap it up, I mean, this again came to my mind, so I'll wrap up with this question. The amount of white ball cricket that is being played, obviously, kind of, let's say, T20 leagues, IPL particularly. Obviously, a lot of selection in Test cricket. Where else will I watch it? Nobody's watching Ranji Trophy these days. Nobody is actually taking the pains to sit down and watch the Duleep Trophy. In white ball cricket, the selection is happening more or less basis the IPL, right? In IPL, there are selectors are not playing any role at any level, state or center, to unearth talent. That is happening through the scouting
Of
teams of the
franchises.
franchises that do a brilliant job, right? Now these scouting teams are identifying talent, nurturing them, getting them to play IPL. When they succeed, obviously the selectors are noticing them and trying to give them an opportunity at the Indian team level or India A level, whichever way. The point is, and then again, you do it something good, do well at the India A level or India level, even in white ball cricket, suddenly you become a test aspirant. The next thing to follow. So the white ball mentality has been spilling over into test cricket mentality, right? And in that, the primary white ball mentality, which we discussed, was, recently, was about the whole idea of saving runs. The prime red ball mentality is not, shouldn't be about saving runs. It should be about picking wickets. If you are going to be economical, maybe you will struggle in picking those wickets, right? It's a classic case of you bringing a whole different mentality
Balance.
into another game altogether. It's a different sport altogether, right? Red ball cricket. And you are bringing in a very different principle into this game. And this is happening at a very subconscious level, at a very junior level, right? How healthy or unhealthy this is. Or maybe there is nothing that one can do about this, and this is how the game is transitioning.
If you are talking of India level, we are talking of the cream of the players. We are not talking of grassroots and other things that are happening. It keeps happening. Scouts look at all these matches, the tournaments. Every state has its own tournament. Maybe white ball is definitely a place where you can identify talent, and then preparing the talent, whether this talent is good enough for one day or whether this talent is good enough for the longer format of the game, is something which I don't think anybody can say no, he is good for white ball, he is not good for red ball. It is about how we prepare them and the intent of a player as well. If you ask some players, they'll say, I'm happy with white ball cricket. You cannot make them a red ball cricketer. But there are players who want to play test cricket, who want to excel in test cricket. So those players who are talented must be assured that, like the point you mentioned, in test cricket, it is about attacking the areas which you feel are uncomfortable and make run scoring difficult. That gives you a chance of stringing good balls with patience will fetch you wickets. So it's not about magic. If you knew the magic ball, I'll bowl 10 magic balls and get 10 wickets at all the time. So that is not possible. Stringing together good balls, to have that discipline, to have that, fast bowler requires as much patience or even more patience than a batter, because they'll be beaten 10 times. They will not get the edge. You will not find the edge. But I still have to have the
Keep on
mindset
at it.
to come and keep attacking you there. So that calls for patience. If I lose patience, I try extra bit, then I stray down the leg, I start giving runs. That is what batters wait for. So now, how do I keep the batsman on the hook? You say, like Bumrah's policy, I thought was great. He said, I enjoy making them uncomfortable. Wickets are not in my control, but making them uncomfortable is in my control. If I can work and enjoy that process of keeping a batsman in a zone where I don't give things easily, but keep him in an area where he's not comfortable, that is victory to me. So if bowlers can be trained to think on these lines and challenge them, to do these things day in and day out from a pretty young age. When you have identified them, then you can look at quality fast bowlers. A good bowler in Test cricket can be good everywhere,
Very true.
but it's not the vice versa. Okay, so that is some, but okay, that throws light on talent.
Right.
That talent having thrown out from there, having understood and identifying those talent, should be nurtured to realize the true potential of a player.
Wow. Thank you, sir. Thank you so
Yes.
much for your time.
Thank you.
It
It was
was
a
wonderful
pleasure.
having you on the show.
Nice. Thank you very much.